I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know I was asking like, was I in the right place or whatever like that. But there was no signal for real, so it was kind of hard to get back and forth with her. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna go for it. And so we pull in and we get there, and every like that we were in the right spot. That's where I get to meet Nicole. She doesn't investigate anymore, but Blaine. That's the first time I met Blaine, I believe, and just Shane, everybody. And it was I was feeling really weird because this was still new to me,
Right.
but I was ready to do it, and that was probably one of the most fun nights I've ever had. And we went in to investigate like the barn area, and it was just telling me all these pretty cool like stories about like I think like I remember they were saying something about war, and there was a person that died there. He got hung inside of the barn. His name was Fox, I believe. And we would hear like footsteps and creaks and everything. Like everybody's sitting still, so we're like, where are these footsteps coming from? But it was like the best thing I've ever seen. And there's a part where we're walking through the field. He has this huge piece of land. So I had no idea he had cows.
Oh dear.
It was nighttime. So no idea there was cows like literally 5 feet away from me. But I just kept like as we were walking, I kept seeing like the outlines of the bodies because like I said, it's dark, so I cannot physically see them. And so I'm this whole time I'm saying like, what is that looks like every time we walk towards it, it looks like it just keeps going further and further back. And then Blaine finally tells me it's cows that are freaking running away from us because they're scared of us and they have no idea what we're doing here. So I'm like, this whole time I'm thinking like, okay, I've just discovered something and it's a herd of cows.
Right.
So yeah, so that was pretty funny. Oh, and Mike gives me a chicken egg, a fresh farm egg that I ate that next morning, which was pretty delicious. If you've never had farm fresh eggs, man, it's definitely a difference from the store bought ones.
Well, was this
But
like a training experience for you? Was this like
yes, I
teaching you
had
how to
to.
investigate?
Yeah, pretty much it was like I was definitely doing a lot of watching, and then like I would tell, and that's where I met Wanda too, I believe. Yeah, I met Wanda for the first time that night, and I was just like, don't be they were like, just don't be afraid that if you feel something, hear something, just let us know, because I had no idea, like I was like gifted in a
Right.
way. So it was like I said, it was definitely a different experience, and it was a neat time, and I really wish we would go back there again because we haven't been in so long. And I don't even know if that guy's still there. I don't know, but it was definitely something. I remember there was a part where we go and there's this one patch of land that seems to only this one tree will grow at this particular land, and then Blaine says that it's like possibly where Indians were buried or something, because he's got that whole Native American thing.
Right.
Um, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's like if you see Blaine work in person, it's amazing, and I like fell in love with Blaine that day. So
Right.
because I was just amazed at like how Blaine was. It was he was a really really cool dude. Still is. I don't know why I said was. He still is a really
Well, he was that night, especially because you had just met him. So
exactly
he's a little overwhelming when you first meet him. Cool, but a little overwhelming because
and
you don't anticipate that, right?
exactly. I wasn't expecting like I was legit not expecting him to be how he was because I had no idea who I was coming to see anyways.
Right.
I
And
just
that
knew
always makes things
I was going.
interesting.
Exactly. Everything was just like, oh wow, this is awesome. So,
Well,
there's pictures too. But
I know. I've seen some of those. They were amazing.
so
But
old.
how long? Well, you were such a baby. But
Yeah.
how long did it take before you were on your first residential case?
Um, I residential like somebody's house,
Uh
right?
huh.
I remember the Pell City one. That was the first house.
Was that really?
Yes, and that's when I had my experience.
Well, now you brought that up. Is that fair game now?
Yeah, it's fair game. I
Okay.
mean, we're here. We're here.
Okay. Because that was my first investigation with that team as well. And
Awesome.
and that was my first encounter with Blaine. And I had met Shane and Kim and Nicole. But when we were sitting there doing EVP sessions, we were working with the millimeters and trying to get all kinds of things to happen. When things started to get a little tense in the living room, and you actually saw the windows black out,
Yes.
but you were experiencing someone else's emotions too without
Yes,
even
at the same
realizing it,
exact
right?
time. Yeah. Well, I think for some reason, it was like I didn't know, but I knew.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird because it had never happened to me before. And so, like, I remember I was talking to Kevin. I think his last name was White, Kevin
Mm-hmm.
White,
Yes.
and Shane. And I was talking to them, and I'm holding a camera, but I don't remember. I don't even know what the footage is. It wasn't my camera.
Right.
But there's footage of this. I'm not sure if I caught footage of the window at that time because I may have had the camera facing somewhere else. But I had a camera in my hand, and I remember that.
Right.
And I'm talking, and then like all of a sudden, this feeling comes over me, and I'm talking about pouring tears, both eyes, just I'm leaking, and I'm just sitting there like all cool because it's like it's not me. I don't know why I'm feeling this, but these are not my feelings. I feel completely fine, but whoever this is does not feel fine, you know?
Right. The
And
birth of an
I was
empath.
I was just like bawling and I'm just like something's not right here. And that's at that time when I realized isn't there a window in that room? Why is it so pitch black? There should be light coming from that window. Without hesitation, it was as if somebody walked from in front of the window and all the light from that window shined into that room and I freaked out.
You did a little bit. I
I did.
mean,
I was like, "Oh my god, somebody!" I was like, "Somebody needs to go back there and check that out. Somebody's in the room." I just saw, like, I was
well, we
because that
actually
was
had
my first
motion
real
detectors
experience.
too, right? And they went off.
I believe so.
Yeah. And
It
I
was
will say
insane.
that you did very well for that being such an unusual and first experience for you because you had just had an empathic reaction to one spirit, and then you had the one that was moving on you, you know. And it's odd. My first shadow figure blew me away, and I think you dealt with yours pretty well too.
And I think maybe now that I think about it, maybe it was like I don't know if it was because I remember when we first got there, we were being told it was their son's room,
Right?
and it was like a man or something like that, and it was terrifying their child. And I think that emotion was from someone else warning me about what I was looking at, you know?
Right. I think so too.
And it was like clockwork. And it was the craziest thing I'd ever witnessed in my life. And I was like, that was my first ever experience with the team, like legit seeing something.
Right?
And I would never forget that day. And they make fun of me all the time because it's like you were crying, but I know it's just, but whatever.
Well, I mean, that's just fun.
Yeah.
It is.
And I till this day I'm like, no, I wasn't crying.
You are a little defensive about that, LaDarrius.
I am
So,
very
but
defensive.
but that really is when I say the birth of an empath. I'm being serious because you didn't know that you did that. It was completely unexpected to you because you were shocked that it was happening.
I
It
was
was just
very.
so interesting. And most people are aware of that well before they're, you know, your age at that time. But even if you are aware that you do something of that nature, you don't understand that it's a gift. You just think, why am I feeling so funky? This is the most bizarre thing. This is stupid. Why do I feel like this? And I thought that, frankly, other than being confused by it, I thought you did a fantastic job of coping.
Oh yeah, because it was just like I knew I felt as though like I know I wasn't gonna be hurt. I knew I was safe.
Mm-hmm.
This was somebody else trying to speak through me,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yes.
And I there was no need to really panic. But until I saw that thing move away from the window, then I freaked out like the guy from Ghost Hunters. He's like, dude, run. That's what I was thinking at the time.
Yes, I could see that. I did see
Cause
that. I saw your face.
that was the most intense moment I had ever had.
To date, too.
Because it was my first one.
Right. What if you
But
had?
nothing's ever really topped that though.
No, that was intense for you. What
Yeah.
are some of the other experiences that you've had in your investigations?
Let's see. I remember we went to an abandoned cemetery once, and we had the laser grid pin
Mm-hmm.
literally just chilling, and it was just sitting, and it was sitting on a level area. And I know because I checked this myself as well, and it shouldn't have rolled at all, and it was as if somebody was just picking with it, and then it just gradually just rolled off, and it rolled. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I remember I was sitting there because anytime Blaine is at an investigation with us, I stick close to Blaine at all times. I go where he goes. So if when he was sitting down, I was sitting down not too far away from him because I'm watching. And the thing just like we're talking, and apparently it was like I think it was like a slave unmarked grave site
Mm-hmm.
area, and I can't remember if you were there because I can't remember who all was there in general.
Right.
But I do remember going out to this, and yeah, the thing just rolled off. And then there's another time. It was daylight. It was like daylight, like the sun was setting, and I was talking to Blaine once again, and we were having a conversation, and I just so happened like he's in front of me. I'm facing towards this graveyard area. This was a legit graveyard. This wasn't like nobody knew. Everybody, people forgot it's here.
Right.
Um, and so I'm talking to him, and the next thing I know, I see this tall, lanky, like white figure, shadow figure, something like that. I can't remember if it was white or black. I can't honestly don't remember, but I do remember seeing it, and it just like walked up the hill, and I was like, "Oh my god, did anybody else see that?" I'm the only one that saw it, and then so I was like, "Blaine, just switch places with me, just in case you may see it, whatever like that." So that happened, and then I think this what was it? We were over in Valleydale in Hoover.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much information I can give because I remember we were told not to
Right.
say where this person lived. But there was some situation going on there, and I remember it had something like somebody found like an acorn or something
Mm-hmm.
with a face on it,
Yes.
and
That was a
apparently
very bizarre.
you remember that. Okay,
Yeah, I
so you
do
were there,
remember that. Yes.
and then apparently like somebody felt that it had something attached to it or whatever.
Well, it
So
was. It was like it had been part of a doll or something. I mean, it was
yeah,
just a very icky face that was
exactly,
drawn or etched on this acorn.
and it was just randomly found.
Hmm.
And I remember
In the
like
home.
I think they burned it or something, somehow got rid of it. And then I remember Kim telling us